If killing Luke Skywalker is cool, then consider me George Lucas. Billy Madison reference.
Yeah, Miles Davis. I got it.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Resistance Broadcast. I'm John. Thanks for joining us today. Monday, it means we're going to be talking about Star Wars news and rumors, everything going on in a galaxy far, far away. You know the deal. But if you are new to TRB, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Let us know how you found us, because we're always curious to see how new people came along. Some people said they had recommended videos to them via other Star Wars people on YouTube, which is cool. Some people just from word of mouth. So let us know, because we're always eager to find out. But make sure you do subscribe to our show. You can do that on YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, wherever you get your podcasts. We're there. So subscribe, because we got some news for you folks. You get the TRB episodes on Monday, and you get the TRB episodes on Thursday, but you're also going to be getting the Mando fan show. And guys, how many days? 11 days. 11 days the Mando fan show is back. James and Lacey with me as always. 11 days. We're doing a lot behind the scenes prepping for this thing. We tossed the teaser out with the new logo a few days ago. You guys getting fired up for the live Mando fan show every Friday?
Different world.
Yeah, it makes me nervous.
Does it make you nervous? I feel like we did the live streams without much problem.
I get nervous about everything. You could say, hey, we're having pizza tomorrow, and I'm going to be like, well, I'm nervous.
Well, James, because he does the behind the scenes aspect of it. Is that what you're nervous about?
Yeah, I'm always nervous about failing. Like, you're like, oh, it went off without a hitch, and I'm like, yeah, we were lucky enough that like things didn't fall apart.
I know James is either thinking hard or he's nervous when he does both eyes looking straight up at the sky.
What?
If people on YouTube know what I'm talking about, audio people are like, now I gotta watch them on YouTube. But you do, because Mando Fan Show is gonna be live on youtube.com/Star Wars Newsnet videos. That's our channel. But that's the only way to get it then and there. It's gonna be on the audio apps after, because we don't have to leave anybody out. We have to take care of you. Where we go, you go, right? Isn't that what Mandalorian said? Something like that? Where he goes, I go. But yeah, so it'll be on the podcast apps thereafter, either later that night or the next morning. We haven't really established that yet, but it's going to be on the podcast feed like it was last year, except this time we're doing it live. Without dropping,
what could happen? Whoa.
Right. Yeah, so it's going to be fun, though. We're going to have some... a new slate of guests.
Nothing's gonna happen. We're just gonna do the show normally. I don't know why I said that.
Yeah, you're like causing all this alarm for like no reason whatsoever. You're like,
I'm just feeling a little wacky today.
I mean, not our normal recording day, so I get that. But we're gonna have a slate of guests for the Mando fan show. We're gonna be doing a brand new Mando code, which we're gonna be giving out a number or something every episode, and you got to figure out at the end what it is, and try to win a pretty awesome prize.
It's like National Treasure. Later.
Yeah. The Pedro Pascal face scale is going to be back, where we rate each episode on the scale of Pedro Pascal's faces, 0 to 10. And the Easter egg stuff that we did last year, we're going to be doing again this year. We'll see if they ramp that up or not. Dave Filoni's getting his episode. We know he's a big Easter egg guy, but I'm excited for the Mando fan show for that to come back. So should be a good time. But before we get into the Resistance Report, one thing I got to say is Cavan Scott, one of the authors for the High Republic, commented on our episode from last Thursday with Amy Rakow and said, I love the tinfoil hat theory that these High Republic books were connected to the movies, the Benioff and Weiss movies, but they're not. They were never connected to them. And I sent him a smiley face with like a tinfoil hat gif, and he said, just to be clear, he wrote again. He goes,
seriously,
just to be clear.
Yeah.
There was no connection whatsoever. I'm like, all right, guy. Okay. All right, But
it just reminds me of Step Brothers, where they're like, well, so
I mean, when you like,
can we make bunk beds? So
has he ever written to anybody out of the blue and just been like, hey, I just want to clarify stuff for you? Because I don't know that I've seen that much from him. But he seems really like, let me make sure I stump this one out. And
yeah, I don't know. I've only had like really fun reactions with him or interactions.
I mean, it was
with him
fun.
where
Yeah, there was no animosity or anything. But
no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like I've never had him like fact check me.
Yes, say you're wrong on this one.
Right.
It's usually like,
Even if
Lacey,
it's like a
that's
positive,
so
like-
fun.
And listen, I mean, and he's on record saying that, and that's fine with me. But what do you expect him to say? Like, do you think he's going to be like,
You're absolutely
right.
correct.
We were left out hanging like a worm on a hook. I can't believe they did. You're absolutely right. So, I don't know. I still think there's a little something going on there. But anyway, I won't talk about it as much as I used to. I'll leave it at that. But I do appreciate him listening and watching and chiming in. That's pretty cool. So thank you, Kevin Scott. If you want to come on the pod sometime, we could talk about it. I'm down with that too. But
yeah,
anyway,
come on the pod.
Resistance Report. James, what is the deal?
It's the Resistance.
So I think we actually have a lot to talk about this week. Lots of really cool stuff happening, including my boy coming back finally. The Cassian Andor spinoff series looks like it's going to be starting filming around November 4th, which lines up with a few different theories we've heard, or rumors, reports from the Bespin Bulletin and all that. They were, the goal here, I think, is a 2021 release, and it looks like if they start working on this around November 4th, it seems around the same time as like what we'll get to a little bit later, the Mandalorian season 3 stuff. Maybe some of the stuff is tied in. I don't know, whatever. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about Rogue One, Star Wars, Andor, potentially. John, what do you think?
I hope. Well, first off, I hope it's just a working title, because that's like to just.
I was gonna say I really don't like that title.
It's so lazy. Like
That's what I thought.
Andor.
Oh my
But
gosh.
I think I do. We were joking on. I think it was just one of the Patreon videos, like spy games, and I do think it's gonna be a title that doesn't have a name in it. I don't think it's gonna say his name in it. I think it'll be something.
Imagine if it is spy games, and that happens.
No.
But imagine if it came out and we were all like,
What was it? No,
Espionage.
something of the galaxy.
You know what I think it's gonna be called?
What was that?
I think it's gonna be called like just something simple. Because I think Star Wars titles are usually more simple than not. Like the Phantom Menace, people are like, "Whoa, George, getting really fancy with that." That doesn't feel like Star Wars to me, as opposed to The Empire Strikes Back, The Return of the Jedi, and then like the Phantom Menace. People are like, "Whoa, what is that?"
Attack of the Clones.
Then they go back to Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, But I think it's just like, my guess is it's gonna be like Star Wars Rebellion or just something like that.
dash spy games.
I was okay with the Fulcrum thing.
I heard that too. I feel like that's a little. People are gonna be like, "What is that?" I don't know what that is.
I understand that, but I mean, people didn't know what the word Mandalorian was.
That's true,
and they went with it, and it's now cultural. So it really doesn't matter what name you choose. If the show is big enough, people are like, "Oh, I know what that word is now."
So the filming, if this is true, and you always you find like these guys, like scoopers, whatever they want to call themselves, like whatever. If they're like England based or UK based, they usually tap into the things that are happening around those areas. Like I think this guy, like he was the one with the Black Rock photos. Is that what the place was called for episode 9 where they're filming the jungle? I think it was Black Rock.
I think it was too, because I grew up on that road and I was like, oh, that's where it probably came
Just a
from.
road called that? You weren't actually in England, right?
No, I just said a road. That's probably where it came from.
They said I grew up on that road. I was like,
Yes,
you were
there is
there.
a
that
road
was
in
weird.
Connecticut called Black Rock. Thus, I was like,
Yeah,
it's New England.
The way you said it made it
came
seem
from
like that road where they were
okay,
filming.
whatever.
I
Yeah.
was like, wow, Lacey was hanging out.
You were like,
I was
grew up
actually
there.
born in Pinewood Studios.
That was a long
It
time
was
ago.
like a
Star Wars is a long
big
time
ceremony.
ago. Just saying.
Basically the chosen one.
Anyway, they seem to be dialed in with that type of stuff. So, maybe he's right on this. And so let's say, for argument's sake, it's true. And they're going to start filming November 4th. First of all, good. Because this show, it's like, oh, everyone's a little worried about it.
Is that election day?
It was supposed to, the day
No,
after.
6th.
They were supposed to start filming this last fall, I think, was the original. And then the rewrites, Tony Gilroy comes in. So they push it out a year. I'm just glad it's happening, so that's a good thing. But being that they're filming the first season of this series, let's say early November, I think this doesn't come out till first quarter 2022.
You think so? Really?
Yeah, I do. Because Mandalorian filmed starting September of 2018 and came out in November 2019. That's 14 months. If you 14 months of this, and first seasons I think are harder to do on a quick cycle than subsequent seasons because you already have the assets for season 2,
Sure.
all the digital effects, all that stuff. You have the musical tracks that you can, or sound effects you can punch in and whatever. I feel like with a season 1 you need more time. So if this thing is filming in November, I don't think they're going to get it around to get out next fall. Plus, I think it's really important that Star Wars learns their lesson about this is time. So the movies, December worked. Solo, they tanked it with the May attempt. I think with Mandalorian, they're like, it's fall, that's Mando time. We're not going to screw with that.
Well, fall is just TV time. New TV is always fall.
I know, but I feel like with Mando, like people now feel like this is, October, November. You feel the weather change. It starts getting dark early. It's Mando time. Like the people are starting to get comfort with that. We're going to see our baby Yoda, blah, blah, blah. I don't think they're going to mess with that. And I don't think they would put both Star Wars shows out at the same exact time. Especially they don't have a lot of shows, so they want to probably spread them out a bit. So I think Mando's going to stay. Season 3 will come out next fall, maybe next Christmas. And then you wrap it around to January, February. I think Cassian will be early 2022 is my guess. But the more importantly, like I said, I'm just happy that it's a go and they're doing it. And Toby Haynes, or whatever his name is going to start directing that thing in England. And Gilroy's at the helm, which is good because the work he did with Rogue One. So all signs point to good here. And that's the most important thing.
Well, geez, I hope not. It seems like a long time to wait for the show.
I politely
What do you think, Lacey?
disagree. And the reasoning is because I think they're going to try to push this this show out before Kenobi, first of all. I think they've had a lot of time to get things in process to get it shooting this fall. I think they would have shot it already, obviously, pending if they didn't have to deal with COVID. But
wait, what do you mean? How are you disagreeing? I didn't say it would be after Kenobi.
Hold on. You said it wouldn't come out until first quarter 2022.
Correct.
I'm saying that is false. It will come out next year.
I didn't say anything about Kenobi, though.
Okay, that's fine. I'm still only talking about Rogue One series.
She just mentioned Kenobi.
But I think that it's going to come out in 2021 because Disney has just reorganized their entire company and put streaming first. They have said that they're putting so much emphasis on streaming, and that's their big moneymaker right now. So I guarantee they're fast tracking so many projects that probably were spaced out to get them on the streaming service, knowing that they're being impacted by things like the parks and travel and stuff like that, and events and movies, especially. Movies are the big ones here. They've already pushed a lot of their movies back to 2021 and 2022 already, and as we know, with Star Wars even further. But I think that this is an instance where they're not kind of held to a certain guideline with TV in the sense that they don't have to go into a movie theater. They don't have to do these big sets. They can keep them small with the same setup as The Mandalorian. So I think with the news that Disney has announced that they're doing more streaming, or they're more focusing on streaming, that they're going to fast track this and get it done by so it comes out next fall.
So what do you think about Mando then?
What do you mean?
Do you think they'll put both shows out at the same time? Like have them overrun each other?
I don't know if they'll have them overrun each other, but I don't think having them even back to back is going to be a big deal. I mean, Netflix puts out new content literally every single week that could conflict with each other. Yeah,
but I think the difference... The reason here's why I thought this. Because it's both two Star Wars shows. Now, if it was...
And I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying
Wars,
I disagree with you.
And then Marvel, and they did WandaVision and then Mando Season 3 at the same time. I get that. But two Star Wars shows at the same time where they're the only Star Wars product you have, I don't know if that makes sense.
They need to make money. They're losing a lot.
When does Obi-Wan start filming? He said
March.
Spring of 2021,
March 2021, right? Yep. So
then you're thinking...
They're already
John,
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I'm. The thing is, look, there's 3 shows coming. There's Mandalorian season 3 or 4, whatever, right? And then there's the Obi-Wan, and then there's this Cassian Andor show. And at some point, they're gonna have to be in different areas. They can't be like the end of summer, then fall, and then December. You know what I mean? Like into January.
Like
I don't think they'll
could be right.
do them like that.
Wrong.
They're gonna have to drop them in springs and stuff.
Yeah. I was
Not like that. I think they might hold on Mando just because they know they have the audience, so they might push their new product first to get people hooked on that, and then bring Mando back to keep them.
Unless Favreau's like, I'm not waiting around.
He might have it all shot, and just they don't put it out.
All right, here's an option.
Yeah.
What about this? They're filming season 3. Season 3 is definitely coming out in 2022, right? Mm-hmm. And then that opens the door for other series like Obi-Wan or Cassian, whatever, to be the fall spot because they only do 3 seasons of Mandalorian, and it does get pushed to a movie.
Could. I mean, I
so that space isn't now taken by Mandalorian. It's now open to be the new Star Wars show, and Mandalorian bumps up.
I know we're going to get to that Mando stuff later, but and this is my guess, and maybe, Lacey, you're absolutely right, where they're just like, it doesn't matter because it's streaming, and people could just watch that, then watch the other one, and I get that. I just think because they don't have anything else, and we know what Kathleen Kennedy said about the movies, it's like, I feel like Star Wars needs to stretch out stuff. Like when you...
I completely agree with you. I don't think Disney agrees with that. I think Disney needs to make their money and needs to push their content and keep people hooked on Disney Plus, because right now that's basically the only thing that they're consistently getting people to pay for.
I agree. I'm just thinking of like when I would have to write a 5 to 10 page thesis paper on this, and I had nothing in like school, so I'm like really stretching my sentences out. I feel like that's what Star Wars needs to do with their content right now.
Putting in periods and making them like white
just
or whatever.
Extra fill-in words, long syllables. But my guess, and I could be wrong, is fall. They keep Mando where it's at and do fall 2021 there. Do Cassian for Q1 so that they have a good Q1 return, and then Obi-Wan, which is a one and done, will be like spring 2022, and that'll be a year after filming that. But I could be wrong. You know, they may.
The only thing I would flip in that is Cassian and Mando, because Mando, they know they have the audience. So if I was Disney, I'd put that in Q1 so people stick around for the following year.
That could be too. Yeah.
Do we know that Cassian is an ongoing series?
We don't. No, you're right.
Yeah,
we don't know that.
That's the other thing too.
But the only thing is they've been on record saying Kenobi is. Whereas Cassian didn't.
Yeah. They haven't, yeah.
So maybe they want to leave the option open. I wouldn't see why they would limit Cassian Andor to the one. So I doubt they would. No,
I wouldn't either. But if it does fall into that category of like limited series, maybe they have a different plan. Maybe what Lacey was saying about the fall being television season, maybe they're like one and done shows are.
Oh, the other thing is award
seasons.
Oh, like how stuff falls into the award seasons would also dictate when shows come out.
Oh yeah,
because they want to make sure that they fall within that period to enter them into awards.
And after Favreau won them, they won all those awards. I don't know if he'd want to like.
I didn't even think about that. I don't know what the deadlines are though. I'd have to look that up.
And I think there's gonna be a fourth season, at least a fourth season of Mandalorian.
Look, Disney Plus needs it, because I watched Haunted Mansion for the first time the other day with Eddie Murphy. It is terrible.
Well, you know what's really weird,
so
Lacey?
bad.
We watched it for the first time at the exact same time.
Did we really?
Yeah, I'd never seen it before. I put it on the other day, and I mean, maybe it's new to Disney Plus. That's why it was getting like prominent.
I think they put it in their like Halloween collection.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
But it was weird because I was like, I saw a tweet of yours, and it was like related to like the song at the end of the credits.
The Nelly song that he pulls up to the Haunted Mansion in a Lambo.
I was like, that's really weird that I just was listening to that song and I looked up who it was and it was Nelly, and that was interesting.
God, it's unreal.
And then I realized it was a thread of you like live tweeting.
Because I was like, you know what? I have nothing to do right now. Let's try this out. And I was like, the craziest thing about it is that movie came out, I believe, before Pirates. So like that was their first like live action ride movie, I'm pretty sure. And imagine Disney puts that out and they're like, I can't remember.
I mean, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and
I'm saying like current ones, like updated current versions. I think it was before Pirates, right? I'm pretty sure it was.
Yes.
So you have Pirates, which is honestly, guys, a perfect movie, the first Pirates movie, and you have Haunted Mansion with Eddie Murphy, who's doing like Donkey from Shrek, and it's like really messed up and like
came out
really
the same year
weird.
as Pirates. That was like
Oh,
their
it did?
big movie ride year, I guess.
So dumb. It was so bad.
I haven't seen it. I mean, I
John,
love
you
Eddie
have
Murphy.
to watch it,
I love
and I
Eddie
want
Murphy,
you to.
but
I want you to live tweet what you're watching.
I'm not live tweeting Haunted Mansion.
Yes, I want to know what you think.
I mean, I'll watch it. Yeah. I mean, I watched something recently on Disney Plus. I forget what it was though.
I watched Halloween Town too. Everyone thought I looked like Marnie when I was little. The girl that's like, Halloween is cool.
To be fair too, like
I don't know.
all those types of Halloween movies that fall into like the classic ones that we watch, I didn't think it was any better or worse than all of those.
I love
Like
Halloween
Hocus
Town.
Pocus, Casper,
what's with-
stuff
where-
like
where do
that.
people come
like
from?
none of these movies are great.
I
They
love
just
Hocus
like kind of
Pocus.
take you to
in
a
the
time.
last 5 years became good or something. Like the movie
That's because
stinks.
people our age are now older and they liked it when they were little, so they're bringing it back as like a nostalgic
Yeah, but can
thing.
we all agree and like
It bombed in the box office.
in your heart of hearts, can we all agree that Hocus Pocus stinks?
I love that movie.
Really?
Yeah. I love that. I love Halloween Town. I love I liked the original Disney Channel movie Under Wraps where he's like a mummy and they like go on
You saw they're remaking that, right?
Are they?
Yeah, Disney Plus is remaking that movie.
That makes me
movie?
so
Yeah.
angry
Wait,
because I
what,
like
The
the
Mummy?
original
Under Wraps.
one, Under Wraps, where they like
That was the very first Disney Channel original movie.
I saw it at my grandma's
And
house.
I tweeted when they said that I'm like, so they've now started the
Over.
remake of every Disney Channel movie until 2048 when they remake Under Wraps.
All right, I want to get some spice, a little spice going here because we're
I didn't mean to go off on this long tangent, but guys, my point is Disney Plus needs the Star Wars content.
we're 12 days away from Halloween. If you agree with me, quote tweet our episode or write in the comments on YouTube. Hocus Pocus stinks, and we'll cause some
Oh
spice.
gosh.
You and me.
People are going to agree with you whether they know it or
You and me.
they feel that way or not.
All right, let's cause some fires. Let's go.
I really like that movie.
Anything else we want to talk about specifically on Andor? Because we got a whole story over here before we come back to television.
Yeah, I'm excited for it because of where it takes place and
It's got to be better than Haunted Mansion.
what its purpose should be. I just hope it isn't a spy show that they just slap the name Star Wars on. I hope that they make sure to keep it feeling like Star Wars.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really good, but I'm kind of.
I did also real quick. So I saw a description for the show. I'm not sure if this was official or not, but they referred to Cassian as cocky. I'm like, I wouldn't consider.
Yeah, I
Cassian
read that
cocky.
too.
Like, stop trying to label
Make
every.
Han Solo a thing.
No, stop. I'm saying stop trying to label every male character that doesn't use the Force as like Han Solo.
It's
Like
like
Poe
fetch.
Dameron,
Stop making
Cassian
Han Solo.
Andor. Like just make Solo 2 happen if you really want Han back, okay?
It's kind of crazy that they always say that because, like, even when The Rise of Skywalker was coming out, they were describing Poe like in the books.
Oh, they
and
were
all
trying to make Poe.
I was like, come
Han
on,
hard. Yeah.
like, stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't call Cassian cocky.
No.
In fact, I feel like he's like kind of the opposite of that. Like he doesn't want to have to do what he does.
Right. Yeah.
And he definitely goes in with the mindset that he could die.
Like
at
imagine
any
he was
moment,
cocky and he's
that's
like,
not
I've been in this
brave
fight
at all.
since I was 6 years old.
Yeah.
Ugh. I hate
Honey.
it. I hate it.
He gives Jen a honey. Honey,
Sweetheart,
I've been in
yeah.
this fight since I was 6
We
years
already
old.
got
Sweetheart.
We
Yeah.
already got the assassin.
K2 just turns
Yeah.
and slaps him.
I'm a great
all right,
spy.
Yeah. That's the name of the show, Great Spy.
Great spy.
Oh,
I got kicked out of
All
the
right.
academy for stealing plans.
Imagine if it is Star Wars, I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old.
Oh, man.
They are going to show him as a
okay,
6-year-old,
let's do
you know
this.
that. You know that's
Yeah,
happening.
yeah.
Let's do this. George Lucas's Star Wars sequel trilogy treatments also had Luke Skywalker dying in Episode 8. Now, John will be happy that he said what he said the other day on, what was it, Will of the Force or something? I think Lacey said it too, but
I did.
Yeah.
I don't think this necessarily counts because the treatments aren't leaked.
We said anything from the
yeah.
treatments, I thought.
No, we
Oh,
didn't.
we kind of said that they would all leak. Yeah.
So this is like a weird half in, half out. Yes, no.
It's a confirmation
this is
of elements.
one more thing. Yeah, one element of it.
Right.
But anyway, the point is that Pablo Hidalgo was doing his book, and he put in the book that Luke's death was always supposed to happen, or at least it was in George Lucas's treatment of Episode 8. So it raises the question of like, what elements of these did we get in this of the original treatments that George Lucas provided actually made it into the movies, even though we know that they generally didn't go with it, because that's on record. Even George Lucas said that. The Bob said that. Everybody, but we definitely are seeing that maybe some of those elements were carried over. Lacey, I'm starting with you on this one. So then, what did you think? I don't know. I'm just going to let you go.
Well, my first thought was, hey, I was kind of right, which is nice once in a while because I'm wrong a lot. Second of all, the way I feel about this is, first of all, it means Pablo's read these treatments, which makes me wonder, what is the list of individuals that have read these treatments? If Pablo's read them, then that means a good chunk of people have read them outside of like Rinsler and other people that we know already. But
I would think everybody in Story Group.
Probably. Yeah, you're probably right. But yeah, the way I see it is, I don't know if this necessarily, I'm concerned this is going to be used as a fighting point online of, see, this is why you should feel dumb for not liking that Luke dies, because George also wanted him to die. And as someone that was not really happy with that point in the story, I have to say it's not necessarily that he dies, more how he dies and the person that he is when he dies, which is kind of an issue. But I don't know. I guess my concern is always is like, how is this just people gonna use this to argue with me online? Because it's like, I don't want to argue about this. It's like, okay, what could have been? That's great. But it's very interesting that he threw this in here. And I feel like it's one of those things that he's like, I'm going to see what happens. Like, let's see. I'm going back to Mean Girls again tonight. I guess I'm in a Mean Girls mood. It's like when Regina George is standing on the stairs and everyone is fighting around her and she knows that she's caused all this damage.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like Pablo's kind of like in that mood of like, hey, guess what? This is true.
Pablo's eating high-calorie protein bars.
Caltine bars, yeah. So it's just like one of those things that I'm like, okay, that's cool. It made me want to get this book in addition to already wanting it, because it's like always interesting for me to see how the process came about and the production of the movies and the creative process of where the story has gone. So that's exciting. But other than that, it's like, okay, it's just kind of like a data point in the story of Star Wars and the production.
Yeah. So to me, I feel like it's kind of weird because, like, consider that Pablo has read these scripts. Like, also, how much other stuff, that is involved with, like, oh, we were going to do this, and then we didn't do this, and then we didn't do this, and then we didn't do this.
Right.
And so it's funny because we used to always, like, get so weirded out by his presence on Twitter and stuff. And it's just, you have to consider what people know and what you don't know, And it's like, I see this as him writing this in the book, not as like a middle finger to everybody who,
Sure.
said this or what. I just see this as like, he's not even on that page of like, what are people going to think of this? You know what I mean? He just knows so much about this stuff, and this was part of the process. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He's writing this book, he's telling the story, and he says, actually, this was kind of one of the elements we pulled from.
Mm-hmm.
So or maybe coincidence. I haven't read the book.
I
Maybe
would love
he just
to think
put that in there.
But based on his tweets, I know that he likes drama a little bit.
Yeah, but I think he knows so much about the history
Sure.
that, like, I don't know. I mean,
Sure.
you can be aware of drama. Like, you can be like, oh, well, this is what we're going to do because it's the best decision. People aren't going to like
I feel like it was
that.
like the tagline from The Real World, where he's like, you think you know, but you have no idea. Is that like The Real World? Or the Diary, like MTV's Diary? Like, that's his, I think this was Pablo's way of saying, like, you think, we just screwed this up or whatever, but look.
Or just assumptions that fans make that.
Yeah, look what George's thoughts were on this.
Sure.
And I know we're going to talk about this more in depth overall, like the whole George Lucas thing on Thursday, so I don't want to get too much more into it, but I find it interesting, and I had my fun with it online, but I think George Lucas also is very well known for changing a lot of things through
Which
his
we've
drafts.
learned, yeah. When the movie's out.
Luke and Leia were supposed to be a part of a love triangle with Han Solo when they made Empire Strikes Back, and he didn't make the decision to make Leia his sister until the first draft of Jedi. So it's very and there's a lot of things about him talking about his sequel trilogy plans that he even said different things about. So and maybe we can bring Rinsler back in and talk to him about stuff that's now public one day. But I just find this, I like this stuff. It's interesting to hear, and it makes you wonder, maybe they borrowed a little bit more from George than people think. So
Well, because JJ met with George, right?
Yeah, there was I think there was a meeting, I think it's documented in
the
photos at least, between George, Kathleen Kennedy, and JJ. And you have Michael Arndt, who was involved with George, who wrote the early drafts of Force Awakens. So there's connectivity. There wasn't complete separation. Let's leave it at that.
Right.
Yeah, definitely going back to what Lacey was saying about who's read these scripts. You gotta know that Kathleen's read them. You gotta know that JJ's read them, right? So when in the process of Force Awakens, they were making the decisions then of whether they were going to go forward with what was written there, and JJ had to have seen that. We know he's seen that.
There's a funny moment in one of those like promo video things that they did for the Force Awakens, because Force Awakens was marketed chef's kiss, unbelievably.
Force Awakens is
they marketed it very, very well.
Yes.
And there was one of those like funny little snippet videos with JJ and stuff that in retrospect sheds a little more light from my perspective on what may have been going on in regards to George Lucas. But I don't want to say this now because we're discussing it in full on Thursday.
I love his commentary on The Force Awakens, J.J. Abrams.
I thought you were going to say George Lucas did one. You're just sitting there
No, JJ.
I did that.
Yeah.
I did that.
I wanted to do this for Revenge of the Sith.
Oh, Sand Planet with a speeder?
Well, the
Cool.
technology was not around at the time. All right. Okay. We're going to go back to TV, guys.
James's George impression, because it's always a different voice every time you do it.
It just sounded like a
I don't
toned
know,
down
whatever.
Lawrence Kasdan.
Yeah, sure.
Like you dialed it back like 50%.
They're the same.
They're the same person.
Yeah.
One's better,
Let's go
right?
back to TV because we're going to be talking about that a lot more on Thursday. The Mandalorian season 3 should start filming before the end of the year. So says Jon Favreau. He thinks everything is on board with COVID and how they've planned everything out. He kind of sees the show as the perfect show to handle the situation. And he was asked about the potential of Mandalorian making it to the big screen one day. Made some comments about that. And he says he's not ruling it out. This is a possibility. So this may mean that Lacey is in fact correct. That this, I know she's big this day.
It's my day. It's come.
Yeah, this could be a sign that maybe the Mandalorian show, does its third season, does its fourth season, then makes a movie, and that still is out before, say the Taika Waititi movie or something. So who knows? We'll see. John, we're going back to you first on this one. What do you think?
Imagine the Taika movie is the Mando movie. They've been setting it up this whole time.
Well, before they chose
possible.
Taika, that's the one that I said it was going to be.
Yeah, I don't think they're making a Mando movie, but I will let Lacey shine in her moment on that. But for as far as season 3 starting, again, it's just one of those things where it's like we expected this, but hearing Favreau say it, it is that security blanket that we all desperately need in these times. And it's the same exact feeling I felt when they said that Mando was going to be out on schedule, even though we all knew that too. When you hear the person, like there's no game of telephone here. When you hear it from the root, from the first person making the show saying, yeah, this is happening, it washes all doubts away. All the videos, all the articles, all the stuff. Is this in trouble? Is this being delayed? Like what's going on with the Kenobi thing right now? Because it's like all you hear, they're throwing Ewan McGregor out there for all these other shows he's doing, and he's going to get hammered with questions about Kenobi. And lately he's like, yeah, we're starting filming in March. But people show running the thing, we haven't heard from Deborah Chow. We haven't heard from the writers. We haven't heard Kathleen Kennedy talk about Kenobi. We don't know where Kathleen Kennedy is right now. We hope you're okay, Kathleen Kennedy. But
Connie
it's good
finally got her revenge.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Connie, Revenge of the Connie, episode 10. But I think this is just one of those things. Just feels good knowing that Mando is going to be filming and that we're going to get that season 3. And it appears that they have figured out a way to COVID-proof this show, especially because of that technology. They can stay in that Manhattan studios with the volume, probably do a lot of testing of the crew, maybe some skeleton crews where needed. And we've seen them do post-production during COVID. So it seems like, rest assured, that no matter what happens with this virus and this pandemic, as we're seeing more and more movies getting pushed to 2023, just down the road, we're probably going to get the Mando season 3 as if there was no issue. So there's something feel good about that, even though it's not the biggest news. And that's the type of news I feel like we need as Star Wars fans.
Yeah, and don't forget we didn't mention earlier. I mean, I lightly touched on it as I was describing the story, but the Star Wars Andor project is also set to film in LA, which makes sense because of the volume.
Well, they're doing some filming in LA.
Too.
They're starting filming in the UK at Pinewood Studios.
No, I know, but they are doing some filming in LA, which has potential to be involved with the volume and all the other stuff like that. So, Lacey,
yes.
Where are you at? What do you think?
How does it feel to be right all the time, James? I don't really know. I just always am. So I don't really like take in this feeling. And anyway, how do I feel? I feel great that, like John said, we're hearing from Jon Favreau himself that this show is still happening. Everything's great. It's still on schedule. I mean, we had a long, in-depth conversation months ago in the middle of the summer about Kathleen Kennedy's, like, we're taking a breath from Star Wars comments that had us all being like, wait, what? So for the first time, well, not for the first time, but continually to have Jon Favreau be like, everything's good, guys. We're moving. We're grooving. We've got it in production. It's going to be done. It's coming out on time. You're going to love it. It's going to be great. And we're already moving on the next stuff. We've already taken steps into the future of what's next. It's really bizarre to not be hearing that from the head of the organization and yet hear it from Jon Favreau himself, which makes me just want to put Jon Favreau in charge of everything, like in our country, because apparently he can just get stuff done. So he'd probably be super helpful in all aspects of life, government, what have you.
So write in Jon Favreau on.
Yeah,
November
just
3rd.
no, don't do that. Voting is very important. Please take it seriously.
What if Disney and all those like executive people and stuff could be voted on by people,
like Survivor?
If
you
I don't want to
voted
interrupt
off
Lacey,
the island,
but this is
just like
stupid,
an election,
so I'm just gonna throw this in there. If tomorrow, like Bob Iger and Jon Favreau were like, we're entering the race, third party, what % of the vote do you think they'd get?
They'd get my vote.
For president,
Who did you say?
Yeah.
You said Bob Iger.
Bob Iger and Jon Favreau entered the race as a third-party ticket.
They can't, but yes, they'd get my vote.
I think they would get... No, I'm saying in a fantasy land here.
Sure.
I think they would get at least...
It takes place in Fantasyland?
I think they would get 7% of the vote.
7?
At least.
Bob Iger is a serious businessman that like reinvigorated Disney and like turned
I know,
everything
but
around.
it's only 2 weeks away. Like, you know what I mean? It's
Wait, are you saying?
Oh, because people have already voted and stuff. Yeah, I'm saying like if they were on the ticket from a long time ago, they'd probably win.
no. I'm saying I said tomorrow. If they were like, we're entering, 2 weeks to go, let's go.
That's
They'd snipe like 7% of the vote.
7%. I don't know.
that 7% is really
I
important
like.
right now.
I don't know. A lot of people have issues with Bob Iger. I love the guy. I'm just gonna leave it there. Lacey, go ahead.
You love him so much you get nervous when you're around him.
I know. He's
It's
like
super cute.
he has that effect on me.
Deer in headlights. It's adorable. But yeah, going back to what John was saying about kind of like how this production is moving forward and kind of COVID proof, what we've learned so far from major outlets, I believe, including the New York Times, is things about like movies, events, big things aren't looking to be back to normal until 2022 and between 2022 and 2025. So we kind of said this early on with our podcast, is like, we've been in this position of always shooting our episodes virtually, and we never have been in the right, in the same area, so it hasn't really affected us that way. I think this is a production that they already planned ahead of what was to come, that they were able to pivot so quickly that other people are now trying to catch up to them. So they're just going to keep succeeding at what they're doing because Jon Favreau is just so future-proof in everything that he does and like what's next. So
Jon Favreau is the new Steve Jobs, where we are at least 3 years ahead of the competition.
the new iPhone 14, Apple's like, how'd you get that? He's like, I made it.
Yeah, he's like, we're here today to talk about Mandalorian 3. It's in my pocket. He holds it up. The Mandalorian 3. Okay. Or 3G, Mandalorian 3G.
Did you guys see that thing about I don't know where, if it was on Twitter or somewhere, with that Phil Shostak, the guy who does the art and stuff and the art books. Mm-hmm. He said they started doing art design for season 3 of The Mandalorian before season 1 aired.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
They said that they work on stuff like years in
But
advance.
that wipes away the whole like, well, we got to see how this works out before we're doing a season 2 and 3.
I'm
like
sure
they were doing
Favreau showed up with his little spiral notebooks and was like, I've got 7 seasons.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, don't forget, people write out stuff. They make all this production. They even do pilots of episodes, and they go into they
could
shoot
do
it,
the art
they
and
cast
it goes
everybody,
nowhere, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it never gets greenlit. Yeah, so I think when they talk about stuff like that, it's like they're getting the green light to get paid to do some of this stuff, so much as it goes forward, because that's just one of those things.
There's a lot of Boba Fett movie concept art out there.
Probably, man.
They're probably reworking it.
Lacey, you never mentioned the Mandalorian movie thing.
Yes.
What do you think?
Yeah, what's the deal?
Oh, I didn't want to rub it in that I'm right. So
You better hope you're right, because we're going to isolate these clips big time.
what do I think about it? I think it would be great. I said it, I believe, a year ago. I said we were talking about this, and I was like, oh, it could be this. I think it would be an easy jump to make, especially because they have that big audience. The Baby Yoda audience alone would show up at the movie theater just to see what happens, Star Wars fan or not. So I think if they're looking to make money and take it to the next step, then yeah, they would go to the movie theater. But right now it doesn't make sense because of how the industry is working right now. Like, it wouldn't make sense to make a movie. But yeah, maybe a couple of years from now, sure. But can't wait if it does happen.
Sorry.
It's possible.
Yeah, sorry. I just got some really weird notifications. Okay.
Mandalorian season 4.
Yes, Mandalorian season 4. Okay. So where are we at on the show?
I'm
obviously excited. I agree with everything you guys say about that. I don't know about a Mandalorian movie. I think that feels weird. I think it's strange when movies get made. Like, it almost feels like the cop out on when a television show gets made into a movie. Like, oh, season 1, season 2, season 3. They're not going to do season 4, but they're going to do a movie. Or like they brought it back 8 years later, but they're not going to do another season. They're just going to do a 2-hour thing. It feels weird.
If they made a Mandalorian movie in the theaters and brought back like cardboard standees and had the Mandalorian guiding you to the bathroom the popcorn line and your seats with him just being like, "This is the way." Like,
Oh, it would be Baby Yoda and everything.
God.
Baby
This is the
Yoda
way.
would be everywhere. Baby Yoda, popcorn tubs. Baby
where's the
Yoda.
bathroom? This is the way.
Yeah, I feel
Where's my
like we
theater?
look at that.
This is the way. Where's the popcorn?
I feel like we look at that.
This is the way.
Okay,
One more. Okay, I'm done.
go ahead.
He's waiting for you to do it. Go.
Do one more.
No, I'm done. I'm done.
Oh my god, what a waste.
I think
Go ahead,
Star
James.
Wars fans look at it
The
differently
icy stand?
because
This is the way.
knew it was coming. Yeah, I was already prepped for it.
You're such an idiot. Go ahead, James. I'm so sorry.
I don't know where we're at anymore.
Mandalorian season 3 going to a movie. You said it doesn't really make sense. It feels like
Yeah.
a cop out. Then
I feel like fans are going to look at that and be like, no, everybody understands that this is not like a cop-out thing or whatever. It's getting elevated or whatever. But I think, I don't know. I can't think of very many television shows that were highly successful that their finale or whatever got promoted to a movie. I feel like that feels weird.
Entourage.
Especially... Did it though? Because that was like we brought it back.
Yeah, that's what I
Right?
mean. It wasn't a good idea. Yeah.
people hated it.
No, yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's like after the show was over, instead of bringing the show back, they're like, oh well, we're just gonna do a movie.
Or maybe
Sex
Sex
and
in
the
the
City.
City.
It's not a
Yeah.
full season.
Sex and the
Although,
City.
yeah, that's true.
They made two
That'd
of
be a good
those.
example.
I think.
Seinfeld the movie.
And the second one made like so much money.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I'm
okay, so maybe that's one
Miranda.
example. But
Samantha was nice.
But I don't know. I don't feel like they do that for this show. I feel like they're gonna keep it on Disney Plus, which is what Disney has said that there's going to be. That's their push. That's their goal. That's what they want. They don't. And Jon Favreau, even in this interview, is saying like, I don't know. It's all blurred now. It doesn't really matter. Stuff from movies can be TV. TV can be movies. Whatever. Which a lot of people are saying points to the sign. I'm saying it doesn't. I'm saying why is making the last bit of the story a movie elevating it?
James,
then?
how does it point
It's
to the
not.
sign?
So just stay. Oh my gosh. It says this is the
This is
way,
the
John.
way.
I get it.
Yeah.
You've been
All right.
voted off
John's
the island.
back. Yeah. John's back a year ago when everybody's making those jokes. All right.
Got him.
All right,
Got him.
all right, let's do these other
God.
stories. We'll just kind of blow through them here. Lego Star Wars Holiday Special is going to be streaming November 17th on Disney Plus. We've talked about the holiday special before. They're putting out more clips and pictures and screenshots and things like that. So
The poster was good.
Looks interesting.
With the hand.
Lego's the best way to do this, right?
Yeah.
We've said that
Yes.
before.
I think that's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, and I definitely like the idea of Poe Dameron wearing the Christmas sweater.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And as long as, people just have fun with it and try not
It's
to
canon, John.
canonize it.
It's canon, John.
Because people are already mad seeing like Rey and Vader facing off. Nothing is going to make sense in this. So people just need to just shut up and have fun.
Yeah. All right, Marvel number 6 released, and it has Palpatine punishing Vader for, the way he's been acting recently, I guess, is without spoiling anything. But yeah, Vader shows up and, Palpatine says, hey, you've kind of lost your way a little bit, so we got to start from scratch. And then he just like, he doesn't beat the crap out of him, but he hurts the crap out of him.
It's not good.
I don't,
I'm not a fan of torture stuff.
I'm not a fan
Yeah,
of...
that's the Sith, though.
I'm not a fan of devaluing Vader, and that's all these comics ever do. And I say that all the time, but every time they put out a new issue, it happens. It's either emotionally, physically, they weaken the character of Darth Vader because they want to bring more Anakin into Vader, and I think that's a mistake. You have the greatest cinematic villain of all time. Let Vader have his time. He's Vader. Let that happen. You don't have to try to Shakespeare the hell out of him. Like, I'm sorry. I get it. He's tortured. Used to be a Jedi. Killed his wife. Get it. I got it. But this whole thing, like, we got to do the metaphor. We got to put him back where he was. But this time he's in his suit now, and he's gonna see me as he saw Obi-Wan. I get all that, but it's too much with Vader, right? Isn't it?
I'm just letting you go.
I don't have any problems with it, man. I don't know what the deal is. Like we all know that Vader was this other person, and then he became this other person and does a really good job at squashing all those emotions. But you still have to think, when you visit a planet, you are going to have a memory of being there.
I know.
You are going to be aware of the times that, and the audience and the writers are definitely painting to that so that they can put it on screen, because you, the reader, are able to kind of see into his thoughts.
Am I supposed to believe that after he has that encounter with Luke Skywalker, that this all happens between him and Palpatine, where Palpatine rips his arms off and dumps them in the coals of Mustafar, and he's like, "See, remember how this feels?" And then we
Is that what happens?
And then we see them pick up in Return of the Jedi, where he's like, "Rise, my friend." Like, there's just such a disconnect to me, and that's I don't want to get negative about it.
I think it makes Palpatine look even crazier. You know what I mean? He's like,
I think it serves Palpatine.
It's like in a weird way, it's like getting out the belt or something like that and teaching him a lesson. It's like, it's clearly like the wrong way to do it, you know?
Oh yeah, I think it helps Palpatine. I agree with that. I do agree with that.
He says, like, you know, Lacey, if you haven't read it or whatever, or anybody who hasn't read it, I can kind of spoil it here a little bit. But basically, yeah, he goes on that mission and stuff with Sabe, and they were in Padme and all that. And Palpatine senses that, you know, he's kind of losing his way, and he's not really being like totally Sith about everything. And so then he like electrocutes him, and then he rips off all of his appendages, leaves him with his lightsaber, but then says you can't use the Force. Yeah. And then says, you can't use the Force. You're going to have to get yourself, we're putting you back in square one. So he throws him back on Mustafar, right where Obi-Wan left him, and said, figure your way out.
Find your way out, yeah.
Yeah. So he's basically saying, like, if you're not gonna do what I say, we're going back to the basics. I'm putting you back where you started.
I really don't like that. I'm sorry. These stories are for kids. Like, what kind of story is that?
It's because it's for us. It's both.
No me gusta.
I don't know.
I don't think anybody's reading their kid that story.
I do like.
I'm okay with it.
I do like where it caps off with, like, Vader, like, leaning more towards hating Palpatine, though. I think it's good.
And
give me more forces of destiny.
That was the other thing too, is we know where this character ends up, and like, as I understand, there's a certain element of like, no, he flipped the switch, he chose in that moment or whatever. But I mean, even watching Return of the Jedi, you can kind of tell that he was like kind of toying around with it. Even Empire Strikes Back, he's like kind of toying around with like overthrowing the Emperor, you know, and other stuff like that. He kind of had other plans because he was somewhat connected to his son and all this. So yeah, I think it's there. I don't have any problems with this stuff.
I think it's one of
They're
those
just
things,
telling you the in-between stories, and in the in-between stories, you're going to encounter some of this.
Sometimes just leave it to the imagination.
Yeah. Okay, new Mando character posters are out. A couple TV spots have come out as well. Anything to say about these? Did you guys like the graffiti? Lacey, what did you think of the posters?
They're cool. I feel like John got more out of it than I did. I was like, oh, look, it's Baby Yoda, how cute. And John was like, look at these symbols in the background. Enhance.
I'm usually not. Usually James is the one observant with stuff like that. And I noticed that all of them had the Grimoire Guard graffiti work, which made me think that wherever that planet is with the graffiti is where that wrestling is going to be going on. So it's going to be a very central thing. Now, does that mean
like
all
Angry Birds?
It does. It really does. But does that mean all those characters are actually going to be on that planet? That makes it even more interesting. Or is it just, for the sake of the posters, we're going to put them in the forefront of this or not? But they all look great. I think all the characters look cool. The graffiti's interesting. Everyone's immediately going to, oh, that means Sabine's going to be here. I think that's a miss. I think that's going to be one of those things like, yeah, we did that to kind of screw with you guys. And I have a feeling that graffiti's not, I don't see why Sabine Wren would be painting Gamorrean guards outside of a wrestling ring.
I also think that a lot of the times, like, stuff like that is just a graphic designer, creative concept artist, someone who's creating the poster, just like, what would look cool here? Like, I don't think they're necessarily thinking like, oh, this means this and this means that. They're like, here, what are some symbols I can use? And then they give them symbols and they throw them on there.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I'm just saying, be cautious with trying to break it down as, oh, this means this and this means that. They might just be doing it because it looks cool.
Yeah, I mean, people have pointed to some of that graffiti looks very familiar to other graffiti that we've seen in Rebels, which means that Dave Filoni's episode, there's just like his overlook of this might be a little bit more tied in.
Sure.
Then that goes back to what John was saying too. If like maybe all that stuff is Dave Filoni-esque, then maybe that's where Sabine comes in. But maybe it's where Ahsoka comes in. Who knows? I think it's all. I think it's all fleshed out.
Right,
wouldn't it be the biggest troll job ever if Ahsoka's episode, so let's say she only has one episode, is not Dave Filoni's episode, and everyone just like, that's the one, that's got to be it, and it's just not.
If he's doing one
I
episode,
I
it has something to do with like something he knows.
I know, but I just think that'd be funny if Favreau's like, let's do this, and then flip the script on everybody and really catch them off.
I mean, what was massively Dave Filoni-esque in the first episode?
In the first, I would say probably just him having the gift where he could reveal Baby Yoda, like George probably like gave the blessing.
Yeah, but that wasn't like a Rebels. Or
I feel like his second episode.
I guess maybe the battle droids.
I think his second episode was more Filoni just because it was so full of old Star Wars references, which is right up his alley. He loves doing that.
All right.
So then don't expect Ahsoka in his episode.
Maybe.
All right. Anyway, doesn't really matter. That's it for the news, I think. Again, we're going to be talking more about the George Lucas thing on Thursday. But as of now, I want to send it over to Lacey so we can do the Patreon pod race.
All right, guys. It's time for the Patreon pod race. So there's lots of ways you guys can support us. You can follow us on Twitter at RBATSWNN. You can follow us on Instagram at The Resistance Broadcast. You can also like, comment, and subscribe to this video on YouTube. We are so close, if not have already passed 5,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much. It means so much that you support our content. We put a lot of different things up there, including book discussions, rumor and theory reviews. I do toy stuff. Get ready. There's lots of stuff coming for that page, so make sure that you're following there. If you want more than that, even more content from us, you can head over to patreon.com/resistance broadcast. Starting at $2 a month, going up in the tiers, you get more access from being a part of the show, voting in polls, extra content, mailings, Discord servers, which we recently had our patrons, resistance officers, vote on what they like most. They love the Discord server. That is their favorite thing about Patreon, which makes us feel really good because we've created this kind of community that everybody feels like they can have fun and talk about Star Wars, and it's just a positive, like John's doing in the video right now, one big group hug, basically. All right, so this segment, after that little plug, is for our generals, our top tier, to be a part of the show. So we ask them a question, and then they answer, and we discuss. So the question this week went to General Jeremy, and Jeremy was asked, collectibles are a big part of Star Wars. As you guys know, I know that. What is your most cherished Star Wars possession/collectible, and where/when did you get it? So Jeremy, take it away.
Hey everyone. So I'm fairly new to the whole collectible thing. I guess you could say I was kind of like the casual Star Wars fan. Never really had any collectibles growing up. Didn't really get into the, kind of all this stuff until the sequel trilogy came out, and my cousin helped me kind of get immersed into the whole movie, comic book world, and really finding out what collectibles were out there. So I didn't really have anything as a fan. Uh-oh. What happened? Oh, until now. My Ahsoka Tano lightsabers. They're my pride and joy, besides old Tiny there. But these are from Galaxy's Edge, and probably the best part of my collection that I got. And other than that, I just got like Legos and odds and ends type of things. So, but Ahsoka Tano it is. So, hope you're all doing good. General Jeremy out.
Nicely done, Jeremy. Great shirt. John, what did you think of his answer?
Yes, I agree. Great shirt. Red makes Solo 2 happen, without a doubt. I didn't know. I'm surprised at the answer that you were late to the game and collecting. But I think it's cool that this era of Star Wars invigorated that in you. I think that's interesting. That's surprising but interesting. But I have to say, I'm jealous because you had the lightsabers, you got 2 of them, and you got them at Galaxy's Edge, which I still haven't been to. So, but I do think that's really cool. And well done on the theatrics, because usually you're stuck at work and you're out in the fields. There's a lot of tractors and a lot of noise and trucks and stuff. This time you really brought the Darth Vader Rogue One theatrics, and I think this was one of your best pod races yet. So I can't wait for the next one. And back at you. I hope you're well, Jeremy, you and the family, kids and everything. And thanks for all your support, bud. Appreciate it.
James?
No, everything that John was saying too about the shirt, love that, love the support there. When I saw this though, I don't know why it never occurred to me before, but can you buy the Ahsoka Tano lightsabers? Is it like one and you get 2, or do you have to buy both?
I think they're a little more expensive, but you get both. Like instead of it being $150, it's $200 or something.
You may have the option to buy one though, I think.
Okay. So it's like $200 for one, and then because they're all $200, I think they're the same price as the ones you make.
Build,
so
yeah.
$200, and then maybe like the double is like $300.
Yeah,
because it's like a deal on getting 2 of them,
right?
But the other one's kind of short.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, but I mean that's cool, man. Definitely a cool thing to have. Like I've got mine that I made, but like it was really tempting to look at like some of the cooler ones, and they just announced the Cal Kestis one too.
Looks
and
cool.
It's like
yeah.
it won the award, and it's all split up and stuff. Yeah. So yep, good pod race. Thanks for being the general
real
man.
quick, I really thought his video screwed up. So he got me. He got it.
Jeremy, great answer. As a collector myself, I have to agree those lightsabers are so cool. Similar to John, I haven't been to Galaxy's Edge yet. This year really has thrown a wrench in that plan, but hopefully I'll get to go soon. I don't know what I'm going to do if I go lightsaber-wise, if I want to build my own or get one that already exists. I know they have the Ben Solo one, which is kind of cool. Maybe they'll eventually have the Rey one when I go, whenever that is. But before I head out, I do want to thank our other generals, which are just as important to the Resistance as Jeremy. So thank you to Carmelo, Andrew Staley, Jeremy Myers, Neil Shaw, David Probus, John Reese, Micah Harrison, Jetta Rosewater, Michael Gaines, Bethany, Russ Harbison, and Kendall Gellner. Thank you guys so much for being a part of the Resistance. Again, if you want to be a part of our community, you can head over to patreon.com/resistance broadcast. Now we're going to hear from the other part of the community with John. Go ahead, John.
It is time for Ask the Resistance.
I've been wondering, what are midichlorians?
Okay, we usually ask you guys for questions. You send them in on Twitter, or sometimes you just tweet using hashtag #AskTheResistance so we can find them, or you can email them to us if you're a little shy, resistancebroadcast@gmail.com. But this week we have some cool ones, so we're going to get into them right now. The first one from Samuel Allen at Mr. Samuel Allen, who is on record saying he's been listening to this podcast since the very first episode.
That's amazing.
So, what is going on?
He's also the best
Samuel?
at wishing everybody happy birthday.
He knows everyone's birthday.
I know.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. All right, Lacey, this one's going to you. Who do you think will play the X-Wing pilots who appeared alongside the Razor Crest in the Mandalorian Season 2 trailer?
Hi, Samuel.
Ooh.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for your question. I think this is a great question because I immediately was like, wait, I didn't even consider that, because you just see that scene and it looks so cool because they're going through the clouds. I think there's 2 options. One is we don't know, and we won't know. Kind of like the Squadrons trailer where they don't really show who the pilot is. They just kind of show that it's a person, and it kind of makes you separate from good guy versus bad guy type thing. But I really like the option that they did in the first season where it was directors of the series. So I really hope that they do that again. Like, it would be really funny to see Dave Filoni again in the X-Wing.
That would
That's
be
my
cool.
answer.
Yeah, nice. That would be fun. What do you think the odds are of it being Luke Skywalker?
Not very high.
I love the first we see the X-wing people.
100%.
Yeah, people are like, is that R2? Is that R2 back there?
The John Hoey, 100%.
Yeah.
110%. All right, James, this one's to you from @ReaperGirl27. What would Cassian Andor have done if confronted by Darth Vader? And what would have been the impact on A New Hope had Cassian and Jyn survived, in your opinion?
So, what would happen if Cassian Andor was confronted by Vader? Die.
Probably, yeah.
He would have killed him.
His cockiness would have gotten the best of him.
Like if this was a hey, on Tuesday you're gonna go in a one-on-one match with Vader, and he's like, all right, I gotta think of something to do. What would his strategy be? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I imagine he's a pretty smart guy. He'd probably try to attack his electronics or something like that, try to take him out that way. But I mean, just generally in the story, like if Vader was on they go to the bottom of the elevator opens up, it's Vader, he just kill him. Yeah, it wouldn't be anything. What would have been the impact on A New Hope if Cassian and Jyn had survived? I imagine that Jyn probably would have been promoted to a commander, and I imagine that Cassian would have also been promoted as well. However, they probably then would have been somewhat involved in the Battle of Yavin, and I don't think either one of them would have flown starfighters out there, so I don't know, it's hard to say. Maybe they would have been killed somewhere on Hoth or something, I don't know. Or maybe they just get up real close with like Hera Syndulla and just make it all the way through, I don't know. It's interesting to think about. Maybe we should go back to one of those discussions where we play into like the what if game. I don't know. All right, that's it. That's what I got, Reaper.
I like
Thanks.
the one we did about Padme, or had she lived, remember? That was fun. All right, good answer. All right, next one. Skywalker @Dog Skywalker said, are Ahsoka and Maul a dyad? No, they are not. I understand the connection and how they brought that really to a head in the series last season of the Clone Wars. But just, from things you hear, especially in The Rise of Skywalker, Palpatine saying that we haven't seen in generations, that to me is way before Clone Wars, maybe even before like High Republic. So, and they would have put more focus on it. Right now that connection is done at that point. So if, dyads are supposed to be this really important thing in Star Wars, I don't think they would have breezed over it without talking about it in the show. They wouldn't have been like, oh, by the way, that whole thing, dyad, just so you know. So no, I do not think Ahsoka and Maul were a dyad in the Force. But let me know what you think about that.
Lacey, do you?
Maybe.
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
You do, James?
I was just curious. No, I don't, but I think one of the, not to jump in on your thing
How
here,
dare you?
I definitely think that one of the things here is that the dyad was also supposed to kind of represent something that most people put as romantic relationship. I think that was kind of a rewrite of these two characters feel a connection to each other and they're drawn to each other and they can't explain why. And a lot of people go, well, it's romance. And then we find out they come up with an in-canon terminology for it. It's a dyad. It's a force power that's kind of pulling them together. It's not necessarily
It's just
romantic.
The only examples
I think is what they were doing.
Have been romantic.
Correct.
Yeah.
From a certain point of view.
Well,
she kisses him. You can't say it's not romantic.
It
Sorry.
was a kiss of gratitude, according to the canon novel.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
oh, and JJ.
And JJ.
But anyway, the point is I definitely think they would have. You'd be seeing them feeling drawn to each other, and they
would have put
never
more of a
acknowledged
focus
that.
on it. I think, yeah. All right, last question, real quick, simple, easy peasy, from Will Beeman @Papa Star Wars. So that's a funny name. Who would win in a fight, Babu Frick or Salacious Crumb?
This is easy.
Let's go
Easy.
with. Well, James thinks it's easy. Lacey, what do you think?
I think Will's George Lucas shirt would win in a fight against Babu Frick and Salacious Crumb.
All right.
No, Babu, easily.
Babu Frick. Okay. James?
Babu easily. Apparently, Salacious Crumb doesn't like zappy zaps. And Babu Frick would be able to do that
He has
so
like
easily.
weapons and stuff. Babu's like a genius.
And we are going 3 for 3 because I agree. I think
Yay, Babu.
win, so, Will,
Babu.
let us know what you think about our answers. Do you agree? And thank you to everyone for your questions. We appreciate them. Keep sending them in. We love getting them. We need them. It makes the show better, so we appreciate it. So tweet at us at RBATSWNN. Use hashtag AskTheResistance. Send them in. We'll talk about them and talk about your handles and have a good time. So thank you all so much. But that does bring us to the end of the episode. So again, as I said at the top, make sure you do subscribe to our show on your preferred platform. We got a lot of content coming up. The Mando fan show is 11 days away. We are so excited to get that going again. And also make sure you go to StarWarsNewsNet.com every day for your Star Wars news, reviews, editorials, information, and more. We're going to be doing written reviews also of all the Mandalorian episodes. So always Star Wars Newsnet, especially when Star Wars news is really heating up. Teespring.com/stores/Resistance Broadcast. You can get our gear, the virtual cantina. This is only available when the cantina is open. So next time we do a cantina, make sure you get yours because it's a pretty good one. But as James is wearing one of our hooded sweatshirts, we have awesome comfy hoodies. It's getting chilly out there, so grab yourself a TRB and make Solo 2 happen. Whatever design we have, they're very comfy. My wife takes mine all the time. So at this point, I don't even know if it's mine anymore. And that's pretty much that. So now for us, I'm John, Johnny Hoey on Twitter, and StarWarsNewsNet.com. James?
At Myra Trunks on Twitter and Instagram. I went backwards today.
Lacey?
People can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Lacey Gillerin.
We touched on it before, but we're going to really get into it in depth about speculating. Speculation Nation coming up Thursday, all about what we think George Lucas's trilogy would have been like based on things we know in comparison to what we got. So we're going to have a fun time discussing that. But enjoy your weeks. And as always, we'll see you Thursday morning right here on the Resistance Broadcast. See you around, kids.